Hi there guys, and welcome to my channel where I'm going to be talking about films and TV, past and present, new stuff and old stuff, and maybe some other stuff thrown in there too, but mainly films I reckon. So a few months ago Rolling Stone released its top 100 TV shows of all time, and well, it was a bit of a mixed bag for me. Some shows way higher than they should have been, but I did agree with the number one spot, The Sopranos, my favourite show, and I guess if you're watching this, one of your favourites too. So in this video I'm going to be going over my top 5 favourite Sopranos episodes. Now these are my personal faves, it's not a definitive list or anything like that, so yeah, here we go. Number 5. Pine Barrens. Sorry guys, but it had to be on there. I know it appears on most top 5 and top 10 Sopranos episodes and people's favourites, but to me it really is great. It provides some great comic relief in the show, whilst at the same time tying up a couple of other recurring plot elements. Meadow and Jackie Jr., and also Tony and his new Gumar Gloria. Those two elements break the episode up great, but it really is the main aspect of the episode that makes it brilliant. Christopher and Paulie lost in the woods.
How far is it to Atlantic City? The package? Is there any way the package could survive?
But there's just so many funny moments in this episode. From the fight with the Russian, Paulie's tumble down the hill and losing his shoe, a concussed and bleeding Christopher trying to light a cigarette with his Cub Scout skills, the ketchup packs, the list goes on.
Fucking cunt!
I also think this episode benefits greatly from the direction of Steve Buscemi, a great comic actor in his own right, and that could have only been a bonus for this particular episode. And I mean the fact that it's Chrissy and Paulie lost in the woods. Their love-hate relationship just sets it up for comedy gold.
I shouldn't have even been there! Fucking insult to even give me this shit, your uncle. Yeah, blame Tony now.
You had to hear him on the phone before, talking to me like a child. You have any idea the money I made for him over the years? Or his old man before him?
You know, plot-wise, this episode, it isn't overly important to the show as a whole. There are a few aspects in there, but not too many. But the fact that this episode could be looked at as comic relief or a standalone episode, it isn't a bad thing. It should not detract away from how good it is. It's great writing, great acting, great direction, great everything.
Motherfucker! What are you doing?
That's fine. Didn't I tell you I hate this?
Number 4, the test dream. Have dreams ever had a better depiction on the screen than this? I don't think so. The randomness, the surrealness, it truly is a fascinating watch. The episode has a 20-minute dream sequence that absolutely flies by. It's so engrossing because of how well it is done. So in this episode, Tony's girlfriend Valentina accidentally catches herself on fire, and he has to spend a couple of nights with her in the hospital. Because of this, Tony decides to book the night for himself in a fancy hotel to get some rest and recuperate a little bit. Whilst at the hotel, Tony learns that New York associate Angelo has been whacked. This prompts Tony to try and contact his cousin, Tony B, who was good friends with Angelo and might be out seeking revenge. This whole incident is partly what evokes this wild dream of Tony's.
You got it.
The title of the episode comes from when a person arrives at school late for a test and they are naked, so they are unprepared. I mean, I've never had that dream specifically, but I used to have a dream where I'd be sat down in assembly at school with no pants or undies on, so I guess there is a slight similarity there. What I love so much about the dream sequence is all the little nuances and idiosyncrasies that generally happen in dreams are captured here perfectly. People changing completely in certain situations, people voices changing, dialogue from previous episodes being spoken, dead characters showing up, some as themselves, some as somebody completely different. We even have that old dream trope, Tony's teeth falling out, pop culture references. It's a dream sequence that David Lynch would be proud of. And it just fits the show perfectly. For years we've been learning about Tony and his psyche through his subconscious and through therapy. But to give us a glimpse into his subconscious through a dream sequence is just a stroke of genius.
What?
I don't want my husband coming out of there with just his cock in his hand.
Mine either, believe me.
What was on that plate anyway, what Tony was eating? They say eating cheese late at night can give you wild dreams. It looked like he was eating steak though. Maybe he had a side of mac and cheese to go with it. Then again, maybe he ate something else before bed.
Our true enemy has yet to reveal himself.
Always with the dream sequences. Yep, at number 3 for me it's the season 2 finale, Funhouse. This episode is another fan favourite, but for good reason. It's the explosive culmination of Big Pussy's storyline as an FBI informant, and obviously for him, it doesn't end well. At the heart of this episode is another dream sequence. Tony comes down with a bout of food poisoning, and this gives him some weird fever dreams.
Oh, fuck! It's a chicken vindaloo!
In the past, Tony's had his suspicions that Pussy is a rat, and the fever dreams he suffers from in this episode just reinforce his suspicions. The reason this episode holds up so well for me is because it's the first time in the show at this stage where a character of this importance is killed off. Pussy is quite a likeable character to an extent, who is stuck between a rock and a hard place, snitch on his friends, or go to prison for decades for selling heroin.
How's it going?
You didn't get sick?
Nah,
How much you weigh?
8 pounds.
Lost a lot of weight.
Swimming. The best exercise. Works every muscle group.
Get the fuck out of here. You never exercised once in your life.
Anyway, $4 a pound. You know I've been working with the government, right, Tone?
Don't say it.
And the fact that Pussy's demise comes via his so-called best friends just shows you the seriousness of the mob and the seriousness of a little thing called loyalty.
You don't see me getting all fucked up. Don't yell at me. I'll fucking yell at you. You don't like it?
Your father is sick.
Oh my God, Daddy, what happened?
He went to an Indian restaurant.
That is so racist.
Finally. I left a message I was going to come by.
Well, I got in late.
Number 2, Marco Polo. Probably the least popular episode on the list, but it's still one that I like nonetheless. The episode is centred around Hugh's 75th birthday. Carmela is throwing him a birthday party at the house, and everybody is invited. Well, everybody except Tony.
Who else is coming?
Freddie DeNovi.
Tony will love him.
Hugh's frustration at finding out that Tony isn't invited to the party is both quite sweet and funny at the same time. He throws a tantrum and declares that he isn't going to attend his own party unless Tony is there. A bit like a child would. This also shows us the respect and fondness that Hugh has for Tony. He sees him as a good father and a good provider for Carmela, regardless of his criminal activities.
Go right the head ahead, because I'm not coming if the man of the house isn't there.
This is the complete opposite of Carmela's mother Mary, who doesn't want Tony there and always disliked him.
I thought I heard you say that you had, that he wasn't coming.
And I guess that's what I like so much about the episode, the family side of it. One of the biggest parts of the show is the family dynamic, how these people engage with each other, who they like and dislike, and how the relationships evolve and sometimes degenerate over time.
Nice to have money. Give me another Rolling Rock, Jay.
What time do you start drinking today?
Probably right after you got up.
Oh, Guz!
The episode written by Michael Imperioli is really great. He gets it spot on with Carmela and her mother's relationship in this episode. Mary's snobbery because of her so-called friends, the Figolis, who turn up at the party, and her embarrassment towards Tony. And Carmela not accommodating her fake snobbery and calling her out on her ass-kissing of her so-called friends.
This is a success, a diplomat. This was a shock for them.
He's such a diplomat, he insults his host. You heard what he said to Tony. He's a pompous man. He always was.
You're drunk. I'm going home.
No, there are Italians all around with their closet self-loathing. I just never wanted to believe my mother was one of them. And what the fuck are you crying about?
Marco
Polo.
Help you?
Oh, how you doing?
Number 1. For me, the greatest Sopranos episode, the season 4 finale, Whitecaps. Carmela finally reaching breaking point over Tony's unfaithfulness. Throughout the show, Carmela has pondered leaving Tony due to his cheating and all the women on the side, but she never went through with it. In the episode, Tony buys a holiday home, called Whitecaps, something they can share and use together as they get older, and after Meadow and AJ fly the nest. This, however, all goes south when Carmela receives a drunken phone call from one of Tony's old groomars, ratting on her cousin for sleeping with Tony.
I used to fuck your husband.
Hello?
When confronted, Tony initially denies it, of course, but when Carmela mentions the woman's fingernail that she found in his clothes in a previous episode, he almost lets slip that it wasn't Ivana's but in fact Valentina's, his new groomar. Well, what a way to double down, Tony.
I found it and I put it there. I know you saw it.
That...
What? That what?
This all but seals his fate, and Tony's left speechless, not knowing how to worm his way out of it. So she kicks Tony out once and for all, but he just won't go easy. He sets up shop in the pool house, constantly coming and going as he pleases, using the fridge, using the swimming pool, and this just upsets Carmela even more, as she's told him that they're done and she just wants him to go.
This is my house, Carmela, and I'm not leaving.
So because of the breakup, Tony has to set a couple of his heavies to work on the owner of Whitecaps to get his deposit back. It's a good way of breaking the episode up, as the guy who has his deposit is an attorney and he just won't budge easily. But like I say, it's just a good subplot to the episode. The real star of the show here is the Soprano breakup and the outstanding performances by James Gandolfini and Edie Falco.
It's all about things.
No, I forced all this shit on you.
The two arguments that they have in this episode are amazing. The explosiveness of them, certain feelings and resentments coming to the surface, Carmela finally telling Tony about her feelings towards Furio, and Tony bringing up past comments that Carmela made towards him and that he's held on to.
Oh, don't worry. I'm going to hell when I die. Nice thing to say to a person heading into an MRI. Oh, that was Virginia Lupo on her phone. She hasn't heard.
And I think the reason this episode resonates so much is because we don't just watch The Sopranos for the mafia day-to-day stuff. We watch The Sopranos because of The Sopranos, the family themselves. And to see it finally crumble in front of us after like 4 years and like 50 episodes is just truly captivating. For years we've just been flies on the wall observing this family and all the eventful ups and downs they go through. And then it comes to this moment and you can't help but think, is this it? Is it over?
I'm not leaving here, Carmela.
I don't love you anymore. I don't want you. You are not sleeping in my bed, Tony. The thought of it now makes me sick.
You know, Carmela's had this inner conflict for years, and I do believe for the most part she leaves Tony for his cheating, but I also feel she leaves him to almost purify herself too. Carmela's love of things, the house, the clothes, expensive jewellery, cars, ornaments. She does like superficial things, and Tony provides her with all that. I feel her leaving Tony gives her the sense of she's cleansed herself, no longer taking his gifts and blood money. And in this case, the house, Whitecaps.
Jesus, how could you eat shit from him for all those years?
Well, there you have it. That was my top 5 Sopranos episodes. It just makes me want to watch them all over again. Well, let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know what your top 5 is, your top 10, stuff like that. And yeah, expect some more videos from me soon. Maybe some more Sopranos related content. Yeah, thank you for watching. Hope it wasn't too boring. See you next time.
Not bad. Mix it with the relish.